in my domain. Got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane. It's over before you know it. While you shaking, we're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty. Now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we prepare for the Aspendental Dirt Derbies here tonight at Eldora Raceway. Now, I will tell you, I did a bit of struggling on how I was going to present this race. I actually went through and actually had recorded this prior to what you're seeing right now. I was going to do 5 qualifying races in which the top 5 made it into the main event, and then an LCQ in which the drivers that didn't make it in those 5 qualifying races, the top 5 there would make it in. That would give us our 30-car field. But one thing that I've had the past couple of seasons is where drivers don't make it into the main event of the Mud Summer Classic, which is now being called the Dirt Derbies, and it just didn't settle right with me. So what I decided to do was basically we're going to do the exact same kind of a thing that we did when we were at our last dirt track at Bristol. We're going to have 2 dual races. We're going to come out of Eldora with 2 different race winners. And so basically, like I said back at Bristol, how the 2 duels were determined of who was in which field basically went back to our Gatorade duels at the beginning of the season. Whoever was in duel 1, you're in duel 1 here. Whoever was in duel 2, you're in duel 2 here. So that's how it basically works, just so that way I don't have to go through random.org and try and figure out new 21-car fields for our 2 duels here. It just makes it a lot easier. So based off that fact, we are going to have 2 races here tonight, 40 laps apiece. There will be no caution flag, so any incidents that break out, we'll try and get our NSCRA split cams on that, but we will not be under caution. So that's going to be something these drivers will have to keep in mind. And usually when we come to Eldora, there's really no fuel strategy. There's really no tire strategy. It's basically all about track position and being in the right place at the right time. So drivers that start up here at the front for these 2 respective derbies, they're definitely going to be starting off at least with a bit of an advantage over drivers starting near the rear. Dylan Young's going to be starting on the pole here for this one, our winner from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway earlier this season, looking for his 2nd win. Alongside of him, Brandon Gonzales looking for his 1st win of the season. Let's go down and get the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Command given. It's time to get these cars rolling. And they are currently sitting on the turn 1 area, so that will take them a little bit of time to get around here before we go racing. Let's give you your top 10 in points coming into this race, and then we'll focus on the drivers that we need to as far as the top in the point standings in this duel. Dylan Poteet is the points leader, 26 points in hand. He holds over Benjamin Miles, who won last week in Texas. Joshua Collard, highest running rookie in 3rd. Tim Walsh 4th. Trent Dunham in 5th. Then it's Kev Shearer, Jordan Anderson, Brandon Gonzales, Jake Baskinger, and Jessica Shelton. That is your top 10 in points coming into tonight's race. But without further ado, it's time to go racing. The first Dirt Derby is green. Let's roll. Dylan Young trying to take the top spot. He will do so. Dylan Young comes into this race 11th in the points, as we already mentioned. Found victory lane at Las Vegas this year. They're 3 wide further back there. I think that was Daniel Gilbert in that mix, along with James Richardson, Shane Lake, and Elijah Gilbert. Battle here. Chris Dodd moving by Blaine Keys. That's for 4th place. It's Dylan Young and Daniel Voyles. They're going to battle, looks like, right now for the race lead. Voyles not able to make the move just yet. Looks like he'll try again here out of 4. There was almost a little contact right there. Close call. And here at the back of the pack, looks like everybody's still good to go. J Gardner, Dallas McIntosh, Cody Smart, Jake Baskinger bringing up the rear, but it's a pretty long event. There's plenty of time to try and make some moves. As Brandon Gonzales made a move, took second place away from Daniel Voyles. Again, like I said last week at Texas, these two cannot seem to stay away from each other. These two manufacturers, Nissan Altima and Hyundai Elantra, I think. But they just can't seem to get away from each other. How about the Dallas Mavericks Chevy Camaro, Daniel Gilbert? He's making strides here early on. He's now up to the 4th position for the Ford. Joseph Srigley now moving to 5th as Chris Dodd begins to slip back. He's now back to the 6th position. Voyles makes the pass on Gonzales. That's for 2nd. This all right now, though, going on behind the Universal Studios Ford of Dylan Young. So these guys have to kind of settle it amongst themselves. They're going to have any shot of getting up there and battling for the race lead. Another driver making some strides towards the front. That's Zachary Fitzwater in the 59. Up in 6th and now trying to crack into the top 10. Ooh, got trouble there. Oh, look out. Elijah Gilbert was in that, along with Fitzwater. Again, no cautions, and it looks like Elijah Gilbert may be done. Trying to get that car refired, and he's going to be right in front of the race leader, Dylan Young. Oh, no! Dylan Young just ran into the back of him, and now the entire front of the field starts piling up. Oh, look out, look out, look out. Oh, how did they split him? I don't know. And now we've got some drivers up here at the front. They've got damage. There's Daniel Voyles. A lot of front-end damage on his machine. And that turns the race lead over as we got trouble for Jake Baskinger in the 38. Oh, Elijah Gilbert still's in the middle of the field. What is he doing? Just got ran into the back up by Shane Lake. That car's got to get off track. I think it was Baskinger ran into the back of him. All right, this race split cam getting us all the footage of what's going down here. He finally gets to the inside, and that turned the race lead over to Brandon Gonzales, but Baskinger's on pit road, Gilbert's on pit road, Fitzwater and Dylan Young. I don't know where Voyles is. There he is, and he's coming to pit road. So now the race lead turned over to Brandon Gonzales, 8th in the point standings after a solid outing last week at Texas. 2nd place is now Joseph Srigley in the 21. It looks like Fitzwater is trying to come back onto the racetrack and salvage what he can. 3rd place is now Chris Dodd in the 88. And then it's Jordan Anderson, and J.T. Bryant currently holds the 5th position. He may lose that spot as Daniel Gilbert has reeled in these guys. And remember, we saw Cody Smart running near the back at the early stages. Well, now he's up here battling for 7th place with Joshua Collard. So what a difference that whole incident that took place made. Collard will take 7th place now in the 33. Looking to see the interval between the 23 and the 21. That time by it closed up by about a 10th. You can see the different lines that they're running. Gonzales running about maybe a groove lower than Joseph Srigley. I was going to take the opportunity just before that incident involving Fitzwater and Gilbert took place to actually look and see the previous winners of our Eldora races. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe our first Eldora race was back in Season 3. That was Emmanuel Hartnett who took that win. We won't see Hartnett until Derby number 2. Second one was won, of course, if you remember, by Caitlin Sang when there was the whole non-charter drivers having to race their way into the main event. Caitlin Sang managed to win the non-charter race and the charter race at Eldora in a non-charter ride. And then, of course, last season, it was Joshua Michaels who went to victory lane in what turned out to be his final season of Hersheys Cup competition. Oh, look, look now, but Joseph Srigley, while he isn't by leaps and bounds gaining on Brandon Gonzales, he is slowly closing in. That time he actually did lose a little bit of ground, and in the same moment, Chris Dodd is also starting to close in. So the top three may have a battle brewing before all is said and done. Daniel Voyles exiting turn 2, Brandon Gonzales entering turn 1. Normally when you come to a dirt track, speed isn't exactly that important a thing. You can have a damaged car and still run pretty well. So I don't necessarily know if Daniel Voyles is going to come into play here, as we are past the halfway point in this derby. But if he is a factor, you got to wonder, is Brandon Gonzales going to have to kind of change up his line that he's running? Of course, last season, Brandon Gonzales ended his very long winless streak with a win at the road course of Lime Rock, but that was during the playoffs, so it wasn't enough to get him into the postseason to battle for the championship. Comes into this race, as we mentioned, inside the top 10 in points, so a big opportunity if he can get a one in the win column to be able to have himself in the conversation for the chase, which I believe would be for the first time since I want to say season 1, maybe season 2. Trying to remember, I think it was season 2 actually, when he was in the playoffs. Yes, it was. Finished 14th out of 16 drivers that year after he had that win at Texas, which, if I recall correctly, was his first Hersheys Cup Series victory. Well, the gap between himself and Srigley is actually increasing. However, the gap between Srigley and Chris Dodd for second place, that is the battle that's starting to close up. And we got a potential battle for the 4th position possibly brewing. J Bryant currently holding it, but he, Jordan Anderson, and Joshua Collard have all been kind of swapping positions back and forth in 4th, 5th, and 6th place. Daniel Gilbert currently in 7th. Cody Smart right there in 8th. Daytona 500 winner Dallas McIntosh in 9th, and currently a battle for 10th going on. Kyle Keith has it. Jessica Shelton trying to take the spot. Shelton, who just last week moved herself up into the top 10 of the point standings, jumped 11 spots up to 10th place. Gonzales with less than 10 to go, this time by 9 laps remaining in this, and the gap again closed a little bit between himself and Srigley, but it seems like Srigley will gain time one lap and then lose it the following lap. He has about 8 tenths between himself and Chris Dodd. Let's see if anything decreased that time. And basically it stayed about the same. Both Srigley and Chris Dodd managed to close up on each other, and Gonzales by maybe about 100th, maybe 200ths. This time by the gap increased between Srigley and Gonzales. However, Chris Dodd actually managed to close up the gap that time between himself and the 21, and they are closing in on Daniel Voyles. Now, Voyles does not appear to be completely off the pace, but he is, I think, slower than Brandon Gonzales. If Gonzales catches Daniel Voyles in the closing stages here, is he going to be able to get around him, or will he have some difficulty? I think he is going to catch him. 5 laps to go here. This could be a very interesting finish, as Srigley, you see right there, closed up the gap visibly on the 23. I think Gonzales starting to wonder what he's going to have to do with the 26, and as a result, he's losing some ground to the 21. Gonzales just hoping and praying these laps tick away quickly. And oh man, this is going to be very interesting, as he has caught the slower machine of Daniel Voyles. Ooh, careful, he is going to get to the inside of him though here going into 1, but is that the line he wants? He'll clear, and that may be all she wrote. Nice pass by Brandon Gonzales on Daniel Voyles. Srigley going to try and make the pass. Ooh, got a little squirrely there out of turn 4. And is not yet going to be able to complete the pass on the 26. That slip-up is definitely going to give this win over to Brandon Gonzales, unless Gonzales has something catastrophic happen to him on this last lap. White flag displayed one more time around. Brandon Gonzales looking for career win number 3 in the Hersheys Cup Series. Through 3 and 4, he's had the strongest car of the evening ever since that big wreck that took place, and he'll take the checkered flag, winning tonight's Aspendental Dirt Derby number 1 at Eldora. This will keep him in the top 10 in the point standings. It's only his second top 5 finish of the season. And Brandon Gonzales now becomes the ninth different race winner this season. Wait, is that correct? Yes. No. Yeah, ninth different race winner. My apologies. I'm seeing double with my statistics here. So Brandon Gonzales now makes it with 9 different race winners. That means at this current point in time, folks, we've only got 7 spots available in the playoffs for non-winners. It's getting congested already this early on in the season. Standings are official. Gonzales with the win. Srigley will have to settle for second, but that's, I think, his best finish of the year so far. Chris Dodd will finish the day out in third, with Jordan Anderson, the highest finishing rookie, just barely over Joshua Collard. J Bryant will finish in 6th. His teammate Cody Smart right there in 7th. Daniel Gilbert 8th, and the rest of the top 10 were Jessica Shelton and Dallas McIntosh. After the wrecks that we saw take place, 2 drivers finished off the lead lap. Zachary Fitzwater in 17th, Daniel Voyles in 18th. And out of the race were the cars of Dylan Young, who started on the pole, J Baskinger, and J Gilbert. So Brandon Gonzales with a win. It's time now to run Derby number 2. We're not done yet here at Eldora. Got to finish out this race weekend. So sit tight. We'll be right back for your second Derby here this evening. So we saw in that first Derby drivers such as Joshua Collard, Jordan Anderson, Brandon Gonzales, J Baskinger, and Jessica Shelton. Now it's time to see some other drivers that are running top 10 in the points in this Derby, including the points leader Dylan Poteet, last week's winner Benjamin Miles, Tim Walsh, defending champion Trent Dunham, and Kev Shearer. They come in 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th in the point standings. We know that some drivers like Joshua Collard and Jordan Anderson, of course Brandon Gonzales with the win, had good points nights, but some drivers ended up having a bit of a struggle with the first Derby race, including J Baskinger. So will somebody here in this Derby be able to capitalize on a bad Derby performed by somebody in the first race? We'll have to wait and see as Anthony McCrury lines up on the pole for this duel alongside of Joshua Ciculli. And it's time to go down trackside and get the command for this Derby to go green.
Drivers, start your engines!
And as mentioned, we have one previous Eldora winner in this Derby, that being Emmanuel Hartnett in the 83. So we'll keep tabs on him and see if maybe he can double down. You see him rolling off from the 4th position here in this Derby. Got teammates lined up on the inside of rows 1 and 2, McCrury and Galligan. Remember, the Seth Cole Baker Motorsports cars put on a really good show at Bristol a few weeks ago, so they know how to get around dirt tracks. Green flags in the air. Let's roll for Derby number 2. Might have a battle between said teammates for the top spot here. Baker tried, couldn't do it, had to lift, and James McCloud says, "Thank you kindly. I'll take the inside line and take that spot." Kat Batson gonna try and move to 3rd. As McCloud into 2nd. Already we've had 2 Tweenix Racing drivers go to victory lane this season. Alex Drayton winning at Bristol Dirt, Dylan Poteet winning at Atlanta. McCloud's the lone man out for that team to go to victory lane. He's riding a bit of a winless streak, running up here towards the front, but now under fire from Kat Batson for 2nd place, and looks like Kat's going to take the spot. Now sets her sights on the 61 of McCrury. Meanwhile, Charles Sandfer just made his way around Cole Baker That was for 4th place. Talk about a struggling start to the season for the 0-3 team. They're currently 37th in points, 1 top 10, still looking for a top 5. Alex Drayton right behind him there, and now J McCloud gets around Kat Batson. I thought for a moment he was going to get 2 for the price of 1. It looked like he almost got to the left rear quarter panel of Anthony McCrury. That time he did, but boy, he got really loose on that inside line out of turn 4, and that brings Charles Sandfer to his back bumper. Don't look now, but last time out's winner, Benjamin Miles, has fought his way up to the 6th position. Went to victory lane at Texas, looking for his 2nd win of the year, and looking for what would, I guess, technically be considered back-to-back victories, as he didn't take part in the first dual race. McCloud, though, all over the back bumper of Anthony McCrury for the top position. This going on within the first 10 laps of the race. Ooh! Well, he keeps trying there through turn 4, and he just can't seem to get the grip necessary to do it, and now he's under fire from Charles Sandfer for that 2nd spot, and Sandfer's going to stick it low, and it looks like he'll easily make the pass for the position. Now he sets his sights on Anthony McCrury, and that's where you got to do it, right there in turn 1, and Charles Sandfer stuck it in there, and it worked. Charles Sandfer, of course, finished out last season with a trip to victory lane at his home track of Auto Club. Now he's out in front and showing the way here at Eldora. Teammates gonna battle for 3rd. Drayton to the inside of McCloud. Of course, Drayton winning earlier on this season at Bristol and other dirt tracks, so he knows how to get around tracks with this type of surface, obviously. He'll move from 4th all the way up to 2nd place in a matter of a couple of corners. Benjamin Miles now currently in control of 5th place, but he's having to defend that against a host of hungry drivers. Kat Batson, Leon Alvarez in the mix, along with Cole Baker. This is currently 5th back through 9th, and currently holding on to 10th place is Kyle Matthews, who just got around Brooke Allen for that spot. Actually, no, I'm sorry, he's in 9th. Brooke is currently in 10th. Benjamin Miles got out of the groove, and he dropped all the way back now to the 8th spot. Tim Walsh now trying to crack the top 10 there, our winner from Sonoma. And he will take the position, so now move the 15 up to the 10th spot. There's Emmanuel Hartnett. We mentioned the former Eldora race winner back from season 3. Well, he's currently back, I think currently scored in the 14th position. See if he can make his way towards the front here, as we're not quite yet halfway. Battle for the 6th spot going on. That's Benjamin Miles to the inside. Outside, Kat Batson. Give the spot to Miles Kodak Camaro. Meanwhile, Charles Sandfer kind of opening a bit of distance right now between himself and a battle for 2nd. You've actually got some teammates battling for 2nd, and you got some teammates battling for 4th. Drayton and McCloud battling for 2nd, and then 4th place battle right now between teammates Anthony McCrury and Cole Baker. Couldn't tell, looked like there might have been a car on pit road. Nope, just the pace car. Some of these stragglers we got here towards the rear of the field. Dylan Poteet's back here, Kev Shearer, Trent Dunham, and we mentioned these are drivers that came into this race running well in the point standings. Sean Galligan back here as well. Galligan been kind of a quiet, consistent driver. Hit a bump in the road last week at Texas, however. Dropped 9 spots in the standings down to 19th. And Levi McIntyre there battling with him. McIntyre comes into this race 23rd in points, so both these drivers really not wanting a poor performance here tonight, but they, I guess, didn't get good qualifying positions, and they're paying the price for it. Battle for the lead, maybe heating up. Alex Drayton slowly catching Charles Sandfer. We mentioned when Gonzales won the first Derby race that so far we have had 9 different race winners this season, Gonzales being the 9th. We've yet to have a repeat winner this season. Alex Drayton, at this current point in time, could be the first. Wow, look right there. Sandfer had to really dip out of the throttle through 4. Drayton closed up the gap big time on him there in that corner, and that seems to be the trouble turn for a lot of drivers this evening. Apparently not for the 77. that time it looked like Sandfer was a little bit better there in turn 4. Was able to kind of keep the exact same amount of speed as Drayton did. So Sandfer may have found something now, as McCloud right there in 3rd place, hoping these two do some battling so he can get up there and be in the conversation. McCrury currently in control of 4th place, and now is a battle for 5th that's been going on. A bit of a back and forth between Cole Baker and Tim Walsh. Walsh made the pass on Baker the lap before. Now Baker takes the spot back. That's going to bring Kyle Matthews and Benjamin Miles into this battle. This is a 4-way battle for about the 5th position. And don't look now, I don't know if he's got enough time to get all the way up to the front, but Emmanuel Hartnett now has finally found his groove, making the pass on Leon Alvarez, so move the defending winner of this race up to the 9th position. Miles now side by side with Matthews. That is for 7th place. Looks like he'll take the spot. Move back up towards the front as this battle continues to heat up. I think Drayton right now and Sandfer are kind of on an even playing field, so it basically comes down to who's going to make a mistake. Drayton running a little bit lower through 4 that time, and boy, he gained some big time ground. Right on the back bumper of Charles Sandfer, almost kind of trying to intimidate him. But Charles Sandfer very good at dirt tracks. Oh, Drayton might make the move here. Oh, couldn't quite do it. I think if he had stayed in the throttle, both he and the 0-3 would have spun. Which I'm sure James McCloud wouldn't have minded. Drayton gonna try again here in turn 4. Can he get to the left rear quarter panel? He's there, and he sticks it. Now into turn 1, Drayton's got the spot, he will clear, and now Charles Sandfer, we're going to have to see if he's going to be able to catch back up to the 77. We know Drayton seems to be a lot better through turn 4. If Sandfer's going to catch Drayton, he's going to have to figure out turn 4 as well. Drayton through turn 4, Sandfer through turn 4. Neither one seemed to swap up their line at all, and another 3/10 gained between Alex Drayton and Charles Sandfer. James McCloud, I think he was hoping that battle was going to keep going for a couple of laps, but it didn't. Sandfer had to very quickly give way to Alex Drayton, and Drayton continuing to increase his gap back to Sandfer. So unless something happens, I think Alex Drayton may become the first repeat winner this season and pick up his 2nd win of the year at a dirt track of all places. Winning at Bristol and Eldora. 6 laps to go here. And that gap continues to increase between himself and Sandfer. This battle's been going on the last couple of laps though. Miles and Matthews, they've managed to both make their way by Cole Baker, so what was at first a battle for 7th now has turned into a battle for 5th, and give the spot to Benjamin Miles. Miles came into this race after his win last week at Texas, 26 points behind Dylan Poteet. I don't think he'll take the points lead away from Dylan, but Dylan's running quite a ways back here, so he's definitely going to gain some ground on the 31. Now Galligan is entering into turn 1, the race leader hitting the start-finish line, so I don't think Alex Drayton's going to have to deal with the tail end of the field, with there only being 2.5 laps to go. But Alex Drayton, how about him? Up until this season, he only had 1 career victory, and that was at Las Vegas during his rookie season in season 5. Now, he's going to be the first 2-time winner here in season 6 as the white flag is displayed over the hood of the Old Spice Chevrolet. There was a lot of talk about who was going to fill in the 3rd Tweenix ride, whether Drayton would come back. The decision was made to put him back in the race car, and what a decision it's been. 2nd win of the season, 3rd of his career. Alex Drayton wins the Aspendental Dirt Derby number 2 here at Eldora Raceway. Becomes the first repeat winner this season. Came into this race 15th in the point standings, and who knows, that win may have all but locked himself up a spot in his 2nd career chase for the championship. He made the playoffs last season as a rookie, and it's like he may be very well representing Twinix Racing in the playoffs this season as well. Standings are indeed official. Charles Sandfer had a strong race car, but Drayton was just a little bit stronger and was able to complete the pass on Sandfer, and after that, Charles just completely seemed to lose ground on Drayton and couldn't battle for the win. So Sandfer will have to settle for second place, but certainly a good run for him nonetheless. I mean, if you can't finish first, at least you can finish second. James McCloud there, another good run for him. This is some runs that he's really been needing as well, as he's been struggling in the point standings. Third place podium for him. Anthony McCrury and Cole Baker, they'll finish out fourth and fifth. Sixth place going to be Kyle Matthews. Keith Batson kind of jumped up there in the top 10 in the closing stage. We really didn't talk about him. He'll get seventh place. Miles kind of faded back in the closing stages from fifth to eighth. Kat Batson will finish in ninth, with Leon Alvarez completing your top 10. A couple of other drivers kind of faded there late. Tim Walsh back to 11th, and Emmanuel Hartnett back to 12th place. There you see down there, look at some of these drivers that came in running well in the point standings. Trent Dunham, fifth in the points coming into this race, finishes in the 18th position, and Kev Shearer, who was sixth in the points coming into this race, is going to finish in 20th. So those are a couple of drivers that are going to drop a few spots in the point standings for sure. But that's going to do it here tonight for our two dirt derbies from Eldora. Brandon Gonzales wins Derby number 1. Alex Drayton wins Derby number 2. Gonzales with his first win of the season, Drayton with his second. And so as we have now entered 8 races into this season so far, we have a total of 9 different drivers that have gone to victory lane. Drayton the only one who's been to victory lane more than once. Next week's going to be a very interesting wild card race as well, as all 3 series will be coming back. We'll be having 3 races, Pizza Hut X Series, Taxler Truck Series, and Hersheys Cup Series from the high banks of Talladega Super Speedway. So that one should be really interesting. You're not going to want to miss that. But thank you all for tuning in to tonight's races from Eldora. If you enjoyed them, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. You've seen your full finish results here for Derby 2. You can look back earlier in this video for Derby 1. As a result, these are your rookie point standings and overall point standings heading into Talladega, as you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. Good night from the Eldora Raceway.